Welcome back to Tech Odyssey. So I'm here today with the brand new Moto G Stylus 5G 2022. This is the latest and greatest when it comes to Motorola, and basically the only stylus option you can get south of $1,199. So not a whole lot in the stylus S Pen writing utensil game when it comes to smartphones, and Motorola stepped up their game. Not only did they step up their game, they stepped up their price to $499. But we're going to take this out of the box, have a look at it, and put our eyes on this bastion of the mid-tier stylus phone world. So let's take a look at it. All right, here we are with the Moto G Stylus 5G 2022. Let's go ahead and get the handy-dandy unboxing tool and take care of these pesky little stickers over here on the side. Oh, only one, I guess. Kind of weird. You would think that they would put two, but I guess not. We're not cool enough for that. Take it out of the box, and this is kind of nice. The first thing you get to see here is the actual phone. Sometimes they'll put this, like the contents box, on top of it. And I'm like, oh, here's the box with the papers. I like this, straight to business. And some serious glue on here. Here we have it. And we've got, of course, a 50 megapixel camera on the back here, LED flash, the Motorola logo. This blue color is nice, kind of catches the light and gives these little kind of accent lines, I guess is what you want to call them. Big gigantic screen on here also for sure. We got the power button over here and the volume rocker as well. And this, I believe that doubles as a fingerprint sensor. Go ahead and press the button and power it up. We've got the SIM card tray over here, and we've got on the bottom, we've got our USB-C charging port. We've got our headphone jack. Ta-da! It actually has a headphone jack. And our spring-loaded stylus. Now, I checked one of these out at Best Buy the other day, and it's got a good weight to it. It's got this nice metal stylus, and then... Oh, I guess it wants to talk. Got this nice metal stylus, and then we've got, of course, the button there, and then kind of this rubberized tip, which is what you use to interact with the phone. So we'll have to check that out. Nothing too crazy here so far. What else is in the box? What's in the box? Now this is kind of weird. They put it inside the little phone insert here. So we've got our useless documentation here, but that's kind of neat. It shows you where everything is at. I don't think I've seen that before. It kind of shows you a diagram of everything. It even tells you which camera is which. Ultra wide on top. Also it doubles as the macro. We got the main camera and then the depth sensor. SIM card tray there, so kind of neat. And we've got our SIM ejector tool and this little piece of paper there. Not too shabby. And then, of course, we have our charging cable here, which is a USB Type A to Type C. And then we have this Motorola branded power brick, which, what do we got here? See if I can read this. Who knows? I can't tell. Oh, 5 volt, 2 amp. There we go. Is that what this is? Yep, 5 volt 2 amp. And that's pretty much it for the unboxing. So I'm going to have to set this up and come back with it. But definitely, yeah, it's got a nice weight to it. It's got a pretty good balance. It's definitely kind of a hefty phone. Like, it's not overly crazy heavy. You got a flat screen here. We've got our front-facing selfie camera on the front there. We've got our triple camera array here on the back. And overall, yeah, it looks like a pretty decent phone. So let me get this set up and come back and we'll talk about it a little bit more. And here we have the Motorola G Stylus 5G 2022. And I have to say that because there's other stylus phones. They have an LTE model that has like 128 gigabytes of storage, another one with 256. They do not have 5G in them, and they're much cheaper. This one right here, $499, but they chocked it full of a lot of different stuff. So we're looking at right here a 6.8-inch screen, IPS LCD, 120 hertz refresh rate. So you get that nice, smooth usage of the phone. So it's great for when you're scrolling through your Twitter feed, great for playing games, great for watching videos, especially when there's a lot of motion and stuff going on. It refreshes things twice as fast as a normal screen that you might be used to on an older phone, so you don't get a lot of blur and you can see things better. So that's nice. When it comes to brightness, it's okay. I think you probably will have a little bit of trouble outside. It's not the brightest screen in the world. This is on full maxed out brightness. Usually when I put up phones like this, when you're watching it, I have to turn the brightness down so you can see the screen. So it's not giving me a lot of warm fuzzies with it being on maximum brightness, and it doesn't look washed out at all. So We'll have to see how that is outside. I'll have to test it. But 6.8-inch screen, very big, full 1080p plus display, and you get 8 gigabytes of RAM, 256 gigabytes of storage. And oddly enough, I don't know if there was a special or something, but when I opened mine, there was actually a 256 gigabyte SD card in the phone already. And that's not the storage that the phone uses. So I guess mine's 256, and maybe it was something special they threw in. I don't know. I wasn't aware I was getting an extra SD card inside the phone already. So I'm going to have to research that. Anyway, 5,000 milliamp battery. It doesn't have the fastest charging in the world. You get Quick Charge 3.0, which is kind of dated. It's not even 25 watts. It's not 25 watt, not 30, 35, 45. But it does have a 5,000 milliamp battery. It's running a Snapdragon 695 processor. So with the Snapdragon 695, it should be adequate for most day-to-day stuff. Now, I tested out the 690 last year with 1 or 2 phones. So this is my first time testing out the 695. Now, I kind of wish that it had a 7 series processor, especially at $500. At $499 MSRP, there's a lot of stuff on here that's kind of questionable. Like, for one, it only does 1080p video on the front and on the back. There's no 4K whatsoever, even though the chip does support it, even though you got a 16 megapixel camera right here on the front-facing selfie camera, and then on the back we got a 50 megapixel camera. So you got a 50 megapixel, and then an 8 megapixel ultra wide, and then a 2 megapixel depth sensor. So it's kind of a curious decision there. Not really sure why they did that. Now, I can look at this one way, and that is, if the screen only maxes out at 1080p, then you're going to record at the resolution that's the maximum you can see on your phone. But that's not always the case, because if you want to export it, you want people to be able to see stuff in 4K. If you want to upload YouTube videos in 4K, you're not going to have any of that capability. So it doesn't matter how good this point-and-shoot camera may be, you're still going to be limited by the video. Now, there's no wireless charging. There's no IP68 dust and water resistance, no IP67. I believe it's IP53 or IP54. Not a whole lot in that department either. So there are a lot of compromises here when you look at it from a $500 price point. And really the big selling point here is, of course, the Stylus. Now, the Stylus is nothing crazy to write home about. It doesn't have any grip on it. It makes me think of, if you, back in the olden days when people used to do things with pen and a pencil, if you open up a pen and you take out the insert, that's basically what this feels like, with a little rubberized grommet tip on the end of it and the little clicky thing on the end. I mean, it's great if you've got like a fidget habit, if you want to sit there and keep pressing it over and over and don't want to, you might make people kind of irritated around you. But overall, yeah, it seems like there could have been some better decisions made here. It's a very kind of thick phone. It's over 200 grams. It's not light. And of course, the phone is basically kind of made out of plastic. So definitely cut a lot of corners here to try and fit everything in here. But you get the Snapdragon 695. It's got 5G. 8 gigs of RAM, which I don't really even think that you need. Normally, I would say, okay, 8 gigs of RAM is cool, but right here, especially with the Snapdragon 695, 1080p, you'll probably never, ever, ever come close to even touching that. 6 probably would have been adequate, and I'm not going to say you should take less. Like, more is always better. I always like when they throw in more, but I feel like it's kind of arbitrary, because at $499, and with what you have underneath the hood here, it just seems kind of like extra padding they threw in there to make it like a selling point. Like, ooh, it's got 8 gigs of RAM. Realistically, you're never going to touch this. So this is going to be future-proof for a long time, except for the fact that you're only getting one operating system upgrade. This comes with Android 12. Android 13 is only like 5 months around the corner. So we got Android 12 out of the box. We're going to get Android 13, and then nothing. You're done. You never get another operating system update. And I know some people are okay with that. I'm not okay with that. Maybe I would be more okay with it if it were like a $200 phone. Maybe if it was like a $299 phone. But for $499, I just don't see where Motorola thinks that they can sell this phone for that much, because it's not worth it. It just isn't. But some people may like this phone. And here's the thing. You're going to be able to get carrier deals on this. If you go to, I think Boost is having a deal with it where you can get it for significantly less, maybe like $299 or something. I'm sure that Cricket will have some deals on it. I'm sure Metro by T-Mobile will probably have some deals. That's where this phone shines. There's not a lot of people out there, I think, that are going to be spending $500 on this phone. If you were to spend $500 on a phone, I'd be like, buy an iPhone SE 2022, buy a Pixel 6a that's coming out. You could almost buy, in some instances, probably an S21 FE. There are a lot of different options out there. Once you get to $500, that's some serious change, and that's not really kind of on a budget tier, or that's really on the high end of the mid-tier category. So looking at this, we'll have to test it out, okay? I got to test it out, test out the performance. I'm sure it's going to be good. It's going to do pretty much anything you probably want to do. You're not going to be maxing out any gaming, doing any 4K video consumption, doing any crazy stuff like that. But a 5,000 milliamp battery on this 695 Snapdragon power plant, 8 gigs of RAM, big 6.8-inch screen. This is really geared around giving people the opportunity to use this in a cheaper phone, because the only other option out there is the S22 Ultra, which is $1,199. So when you look at it from that aspect, it's like, well, this is the best you can get other than spending an additional like $600. So that's a lot of money. That's a whole lot of money. And there's some neat features on here. And then you've got the little menu option. You can pop up the hotkey option with the stylus, and then you can open up for notes and do JPEGs. You can draw. You can draw. It has preloaded little cartoon things on here. You can actually draw these in color and fill them in. So you don't even need to download an extra app for that. You don't need Wi-Fi. You don't need internet. You can just pop it up and start drawing to your heart's content. And I know some people like doing that. And also, it's only got a single downward firing speaker, which is okay. But at $500, I don't know a lot of phones out there nowadays that don't have stereo speakers. So no stereo speaker, no IP68 dust and water resistance, no wireless charging, no 4K. No, I mean, really, you only get one operating system update. So there's a lot of compromises here. Like, there's a whole lot of things that make me go, yeah, this isn't worth $500. But again, you might be able to get some deals. I'm sure the price will drop pretty rapidly. And also, it's about all you can get with the stylus. Short of getting something older, you could go get a Note 20. You could go get even a Note 10 Plus, probably for less than this at this point. So yeah, there's not really a whole lot of enticing options here for this phone or reasons to go get it other than this right here, which is the only selling point. I really have to acknowledge that, because if I were to tell you to get any other phone at $499, if you took out the whole idea of using a stylus with this, I would say no. Like, this phone would not be in that list at all. But because it does have a stylus, I wanted to check it out, test it out, and I don't want this to come off as bashing the phone. I haven't had time to test it out yet. I just took this out of the box and set it up and did some bare minimum stuff looking at it, and the stylus integration does seem to be pretty good. It's something that I think people will probably enjoy if you do go get it, and I think if you can get a carrier incentive, get it for $299, buy it later and save some money on it, it's a very viable phone that's going to last you for a long time. Hardware-wise, I think it's pretty solid in that aspect, but you know, the software update stuff does kind of irk me a little bit. So yeah, that's it. Kind of mixed feelings on it right now. This is, again, I just took it out of the box and had an opportunity to look at it, discuss it some, and now I'm going to put my SIM card in it and I'm going to test it out. So that's all I got. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, things you want me to look at while I'm testing it out, then please go to the comment section and we can talk about it. I'll get back with you. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like and the subscribe button and the little notification bell if you want updates when new videos come out. And as always, thanks for being here. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you guys next time.